What's up, everyone? Joe Gray here today with another GGC live stream. Today, we are taking a look at the Deadliest Lifts with my dude, Mark Rosenberg,
Hi.
a.k.a. Deadliest Lift. Mark, what's up, dude?
Not much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I think you joined one of our live streams. Was it last year or the year before?
A year or two ago. I think at least one competition ago.
Yeah, and I think afterwards you and I talked. We were like, I need to have you back, but I need to have you back when we have people do some stuff that's in your wheelhouse of craziness instead of just watch people squat, right? So, so that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna watch people do. They might still squat, but they're gonna do it in a different,
more exciting manner.
Yeah, so which should be fun. So. For anybody that doesn't know who you are, let's bring up this dude and let's bring up a quick video of you doing your thing. All right, so this is Mark's 2024 roundup. While that plays, Mark, go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Sure. I am, I guess, your friendly neighborhood, odd, original, slightly unhinged lifter. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, 3, 4, and I just kind of go where the intrusive thoughts take me and do a bunch of unusual lifting. Sometimes they're old lifts like the Zercher deadlift or the Reeves deadlift. Sometimes they're odd lifts. Sometimes they're just completely unhinged nonsense. And I enjoy doing that as much as I do the real quote-unquote training, and everyone else seems to enjoy it too. So
there you go. So questions I know people probably ask you, and for anyone that might be in the chat that doesn't know, what are your best, more traditional lifts?
My best, more traditional lifts. I am an expert at all things deadlift, which is kind of where Deadliest Lift came from. It just kind of ended up being the ideal name for where the channel went after some time. But no, I'm a deadlift savant, and anything that is remotely in the wheelhouse of deadlift or the relation to deadlift, I'm probably pretty dang good at.
Okay. And you've pulled, like, I think it's real close to, or maybe over 1,000. Is that right?
I pulled 1005 Jefferson.
Okay. Yeah. So on Instagram and stuff, it's not like every single day that's your only, like you're doing somewhat normal training, right?
Yeah. All my training is pretty standard. The videos are, with the exception of like the just unusual real lifts, are essentially all the stuff I do on what is actually a rest day. So it's either a rest day or a video day. So depending on what I have in mind or how much energy I have. So no, this is not real training methodology. I don't recommend you do this to get stronger. You should get stronger with the good old bread and butter regular lifts. And then when you have that strength, if you really want to express it in this manner, then be my guest, responsibly.
There you go. Okay. What do you do to kind of, or do you do anything? Have you done anything over the years to prepare for the wilder lifts themselves?
Yeah. The real answer is kind of just no. People think that there's got to be like some, like, maybe not crazy, but like niche mobility or like weird strengthening things, like strength and strange, or like special back exercises. And the truth is, to do a lot of this stuff, you don't need specialized strength. You just need a lot of general strength and the willingness to do it. And yes, over time, you kind of get what I like to think is a increased bodily awareness that makes it faster to pick up new and unusual lifts. Like if you're doing things you're not used to very often, you're going to get better at doing new things. But you don't need anything special to do a lot of this. Within reason. Like obviously, a lot of my deadlift craziness is pretty heavy, but that's just because I'm an insanely strong deadlifter. So if you like normalize it to someone else's max deadlift, they could probably do the same percentage of that weird lift, with a little bit of practice.
Yeah. If you deadlift standing on 2 plates like you're doing there with a camera bar or whatever, someone might be able to do that with 225 or something, right?
You got to scale to their deadlift strength.
I'm with you. Is there, so your normal training, I know I've seen you say before, like especially when you're in like kind of like a hypertrophy phase, you're using machines and stuff as well, and so it's not like you're only using a barbell and whatever. Like you would look like a normal gym goer by all means, multiple days out of the week. So
5 days out of 7. And these days it's like 3 days at the gym, which is kind of like my baseline maintenance / growth stuff. It's just kind of some bodybuilding strength, maybe some strength stuff thrown in if I feel like I have a weak point I'm working on, and then 2 days used to be kind of variable, but these days it's almost exclusively strongman stuff for those 2 days because I've gotten more serious about that, training year round versus just for the few months before a competition. So
nice.
press, deadlift, carries, loading, etc., etc.
Awesome. I know in the last year or so, you're we'll call you from kind of like I hate the term, but it's the only one I have. Content creator, right?
Better influencer.
Yeah. Yes, that's the reason why I use that one instead of that one. Your content creator life has expanded a bit. You've had some cool partnerships with, like with your Snap City Open. You got Juji and a handful of other dudes. Eric,
Atlas, and Mikey.
Yeah. Okay. So all kinds of crazy stuff. So does that stuff just come up kind of just like they reach out or you reach out to them?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm
like, hey,
almost all the stuff I've done with other people is them reaching out or talking about something else, because like I'm really about being like, hey, you should do something with me, or like, hey, I want to work with your company. Like I hate to impose, so a lot of the opportunities I've had find their way to me, which I think makes it even cooler, because like all these people, these companies and stuff, they want to like do stuff with me, and I think it's like super fun. Like this last year, I've had so many chances to do new things, and like exposure aside, it's just fun to like hang out with all these different high profile people, or high profile to me. They're big in my niche.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mark and I talked last year when he was running a Snap City, and I was like, hey, do you want me to connect you with any of the sponsors from the GDC? And at first he was like, and I was like, you love like kind of, we should do this. And then finally he's like, okay, fine. And then I think we got like, I don't know, like a dozen of them or something like that on board. And then now it looks like you guys are cooking, which is awesome. Yeah,
so, I was really surprised by the turnout last year, even though it's kind of last minute. I dropped the ball a bit on the pre-scheduling because I didn't think many companies would want to do that. So this year I was earlier. We've got way more prizes than last year. I'm super excited to have like all this prize support. So all the people that are taking the time to enter have a chance to take home some cool stuff.
Yeah, very cool. All right, man. Let's take a look at some videos, huh? So if you are in the chat, make sure you say what's up. Let Mark know you're here. As we go through these videos, we are going to let Mark. So let me start over. We're going to split into two categories. So the first category we're going to walk through is going to be people who entered the spring GGC and did it in a deadliest-ish approach. So Mark is going to rate their lifts on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the most deadly. And in the chat, you can weigh in as well. So you can throw in your ratings. I will keep track of those ratings as we go. So I'll keep track of Mark's as well as an average for the chat. I will then average those two out, and we will get our final score. And then I will give Mark our top probably 5-ish, and he will pick the final 3 winners. So the top 3 are going to walk away with some spider chalk as well as a GGC medallion that Nate from Executive Fit is making for us, which is pretty cool. And then after we finish those, we're going to spend the rest of the hour or so walking through some of the Snap City Open submissions that Mark has, some of the earlier ones. So some of these people that we are going to watch today entered both, which is cool. The dates overlap a little bit, which is nice. But we'll take a look at some of the wild lifts that he's got in there as well. So a little 50-50 action going on here, I think, today. So, all right. So first video for us is I've got Emilio. So I'm pretty sure this one showed up on your radar already. This is pretty wild.
Yep. I think you tagged me in that one.
So he's got, what is that, a shot of vodka, I'm assuming? Then
I think tequila, maybe?
Okay, tequila.
It doesn't matter. It's all.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Tequila to kill the germs. Yep. Smelling salts to overcome the fear. They light the plates on fire. And then he's got a plate with a towel with like a 10-pound plate hanging from, or that he's biting down on. He's got chains strapped up to the waist, and he's wearing his full like army looking attire almost. Because does he have a weighted vest on?
Yeah, I think it's a weighted vest. Yeah, and then
okay.
maybe like a beret or something. It's hard to
yeah,
tell.
Beret.
The video's a little bit small.
He's got a lot going on there. So, and the flex, not too shabby. All right, Mark, what do we got for him?
We're gonna break this down. All right, so I'm gonna go 7.5. Okay. Which is a very good score because I'm going to actually. This is in my mind what I would call just an elevated deadlift. So, go to a fancy restaurant, they really doll up the dish and it becomes elevated. This is an elevated. Right. At its core, it's a deadlift. Okay. So it does lose a few points because the movement itself is fairly standard. But that's obviously the theatrics and the presentation really elevates this basic movement.
I'm with you.
He's got a bunch of stuff. He's got the thing. Using fire inside is a bold choice. And I don't know. I mean, I assume it's something very quick and probably low temperature burning, but it doesn't even look like maybe a rubber coat or bumper plates. So like setting your plates that can burn on fire really shows a dedication that I can appreciate.
Yep. He's standing on a wood platform, which is impressive as well.
It covered in probably lacquer, which is flammable.
Yeah, there's some wood paneling behind him as well.
Like there's lots of things that could have gone wrong, and that really makes it even better. Plus, obviously, you have to turn the lights off so you can see the fire, and basic movement, but really brought to a spicier and deadlier level through use of stagemanship, showmanship, and I guess add-ons.
Awesome. All right. If you're in the chat, make sure you throw out a number between 1 and 10 in terms of how deadly you think our dude Emilio did here, and I'll tabulate those up as well. You're talking about elevating the dish. So my brain goes to like when they're like, hey, here's a scrambled egg, but we put it in like sticks and like added this feather over here, so you think of the chicken that it came from or whatever, right? Like I'm with you. Okay, so if anything comes in the chat, I will add those. Otherwise, we're gonna jump on over to our next one. So we got Kyle for right here. Zerker. So 405. Is it Zerker or Zurcher?
Zurcher, not Zerker. Zurcher. It's named after Ed Zurcher, who was an old school strongman. I think some people hear that and think Zerker as in like berserker.
Yeah.
But no, it's 100% Zurcher, not Zerker.
Cool.
And I have a little twinge when I hear Zerker.
Yep. I asked because my wife and I talk about this all the time.
It's a really common mistake.
Well, it's the words that you read and you don't necessarily hear, right? And so your brain just goes, I think that's what that is, right?
Yeah.
Like even my because my daughter's 8, so she's still learning words and putting things together when she reads things. So there's been a few times where she said something while she's reading a book, and we turn and we're like, "What was that word?" Because I've never heard that word before, and then we look at it and we go, okay, that's not what that was. I totally understand how you put that together. Then you have to, correct it. But okay. So he reached out to me before he even did it. He was like, I think I'm going to do a Zurcher for the GGC. I was like, well, you might qualify into the Deadliest Lift category if you do. And he goes, oh, yeah, I'm doing it then. So, all right. So what do we got for Kyle?
All right, well, obviously, this is just like the movement itself. There's no extra dialing up. It's just raw strength, raw squat. Exceptional depth. Definitely giving points for that. That's completely ass grass even on the Zurcher. Let's watch one more time.
Even manages to stay pretty upright. But didn't even pin him over that much.
Yep, so. That's absolutely a squat, not a weird deadlift, which is what usually happens when I try to Zercher squat, because you can make it a deadlift, and if I have the opportunity to make something a deadlift, I'm going to. So 405 completely like hamstring to calf. I'm gonna go with 8 because I rank like the strength and the like strength displayed a little bit more than I rank necessarily like the theatrics.
I'm with you. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next up is Joey. So Joey's been in a number of our videos this week. He's got, I think, a couple lifts for us. So we're gonna watch him do the Zercher SSB squat.
Those are calibrated plates, right? Not bumpers.
Yep.
That's that 3 or 4? No, 3.
It looks like he's got 3 reds.
Okay, so about 400 pounds.
Yep. And then I think we'll probably skip his bench because I think it's like a multi-grip bar, just a standard bench. But then he does some Denny stone lifts too for his deadlift. So.
I'm right here. I heard everything you said. Those things to try it now. It's done 'cause I know how it's done. See all the accolades sitting up on my shelf. I'm a man now, but I'm sticking it to myself. Sticking it to myself. Sticking it to my.
Did he have weights listed for the Denny stone lift? Because I'm counting at least. Oh wait, 5 reds. Not. I was factoring as like pairs of 5 reds, so I'm like, that's 600 pounds in one hand. But no.
So he's got 182 in kilos for the squat, so through 400, almost 400. And he's got 300 kilos listed for the dead, so 650-ish or something, whatever that comes
out. So probably split like 350, 255, something like that.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so let's watch this one again as you break it down. The one thing I noticed, I think he hits the safeties. Yep. And it ends up being kind of a dead stop, and then
pin squat or Anderson squat.
Yep. So down, boom, and then back up. So is the camber on the SSB an extra factor? Because in theory it swings at least a little bit, or no?
Okay, so it's weird. I feel like I'm probably most qualified person to speculate on this. I have tried this before. I've definitely seen people do. I think I've seen this called like a teddy bear squat before because you're hugging it like a big teddy bear.
Okay.
I usually feel like pulled in tighter and have a real good grip on it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider the like rotation of the camber as like much of a factor. What it's more so is just that the weight is being shifted from where it would be on a straight bar. And I'm trying to see if it's shifted like backwards or forwards. It looks like it's okay. No, it looks like it's basically sitting face down. Then
so if you
pull if you pull the arms in, it'll push the weight back, which kind of brings it closer to the center of body and actually makes it arguably easier for the hinge part, but then harder for the the tugging in part.
Sure.
So I'll call that like a neutral on the weight distribution. But other than that, really solid like execution. I personally think that when you can't cross your arms for Zerchers, it makes them significantly harder. Maybe not like drastically harder, but I think that is harder. So I would rank, for instance, that 405 more than the last 405, just because I think that adds difficulty. Sure. And then also he's got the little added addition of the deadlift, which is like that's like 660 total. 300 kilograms.
Yeah. And he's got. Does he have different amounts?
Yep.
I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is typical for Denny's, right? Because they do way different amounts.
The actual Denny's are in the neighborhood of 415 and 315, I think, just slightly below both. I forget the exact distribution. So about like 75% of the light one is about 75% of the heavy one, which looks like about the same ratio here. And also the rings are different sizes for anyone not familiar. The large ring is a larger diameter, a little bit easier to grip. It's a little thicker. And the small ring is actually pretty thin. It's like a 1/2 inch wide.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit oblong. And if you've never done it, the little one hurts quite a bit. It's really
sure.
It's a pretty small force kind of digging into. They hurt in general. Rings are terrible lift once they get heavy. So that is pretty dang close to the full Denny. So that's also going to earn some points. So I think he gets the 9.
All right, Joe.
It's a significant jump up from the last ones.
Nice job,
I want to
Joey.
save the 10 in case someone really explodes the wire, but I guess I can
There you
always
go.
break the rules and go up to 11 or something.
Yeah, of course. And we'll come back. And so we had this yesterday. By the way, again, in the chat, if you're there, feel free to add your own ratings for any of these that we're watching. We'll go back and we'll make sure we cover them again. We opened up. Did you watch yesterday by chance or no?
No, I was out.
Okay, yeah. So we did RPE. So we opened up with a guy who ended up winning. It was literally the first one we watched, and it was like a 10-second eccentric.
Yeah, I saw the winner. So
yeah. So it took freaking forever. And Travis, my guest host, he was like, we're starting here? Or what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to go from here? I'm like, I don't know, man. Good luck, though.
Well, it's actually, it was funny when I saw you had Travis as the replacement for, I forget who originally was supposed to be on, because he actually lives pretty close to me. And he was like, when I had Wade out here just a few weeks ago, he was there for this, and we go to the same strongman training day. So it's like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah. Travis is a cool dude. So he's competed in the GGC quite a few times and disappeared for a little bit. I think his Instagram account got deleted or something wild. And so, yeah, all kinds of fun things. So, all right, let's see. So Joey's got a 9. So let's go ahead and add in our next dude. So this is Scance. So Scance, aka Tim, that's his real name, but Scance is what he goes by. One of the Massonomics OG dudes.
I can tell.
He always does stuff. When Massonomics did, I don't know if you remember, they did their like reveal contest.
With the garage doors?
Yep. So that's him. So he's the one where the garage door opens and he's drinking the beer or whatever kind of thing. And so Scance is awesome supporter of the GGC. He tends to comment on like every single prize post, thank the sponsor for sponsoring and all kinds of stuff, which is always cool. He encourages a whole bunch of people, and he's like, hey, I'm broken and old and I'm still out here doing stuff, so you have no excuses. And so his submission was around somebody had asked him about, I think it was dumb ways to use a sandbag or something like that.
Every single way. Sandbags are just dumb. Every way you use a sandbag is a dumb sandbag.
Yeah. So this is going to be his squat, bench, and deadlift, but with sandbags.
All with sandbags. So masochist.
Had to ditch the hat. Because that's a 200-pound bag. Not too shabby. I picked up some bags today, and 250 is a fun one to get up to your chest, let alone get it around the back of your head and stuff. So
I much prefer stones to sandbags. Like something about my wrists and fingers, they don't like the grip you need to use for sandbags. Probably because I avoid them because I hate them, but it's a cyclical thing.
So it looks like he's going lopsided axle, maybe.
Axle, and I've heard either like a grave taker's deadlift or a shovel deadlift because you got all the way on one side.
Yeah. Okay. So is that have you done that before?
Yep.
Comparatively, so he wrote down 230 deadlift.
Yeah.
So compared to if I loaded a normal bar with 230.
Yep. Oh, 100% harder than the equivalent weight. I would say it's bordering on harder than if you had the same weight on the other side and grabbed in the middle. So, like, if you had, I don't know how many plates he has there, like 200 something.
3 and a 25 maybe or something.
Yeah, maybe like either. So, yeah, if he had like that same weight on the other side and lifted it normally, I'd say that's about, if not, probably depends person to person, but it's more in that realm of like difficulty, like twice as difficult, basically.
Okay.
Like,
and that's because that other end of that bar is trying to do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to break this down, again, one of the few people that's probably done this stupid stuff. The other side's not trying to go up that much if you're grabbing right at the base of the collar. Like it's relatively balanced. You don't need that much pressure from the other side. You need a little bit, but that's not the hard part. It's more just the fact that all that weight is on one side, and you don't realize how much the balance of having weight on both sides to counteract.
Sure.
The, not quite rotation, but the bending.
I'm with you.
How big of a factor that is until you have to fight it. And because that bar wants to A, pull you sideways, B, the weight wants to come to center. So it's trying to like push into your leg. So if you have a really heavy one, you kind of like it bends your knee and you're trying to like just drag it up your knee. It's very uncomfortable. And like, they're very difficult. Is basically what I'm getting at.
That makes sense. I'm with you. Yeah. So similar to like, so the Dinnies we were just watching, right?
Yeah.
It would actually be easier if they were both the same weight than one heavier and one lighter, right?
Probably, or at least like coming to the point of nearly being equal. They're not crazy off. So like the fact that it's a little bit lighter in general probably makes it a little bit easier, but it would be pretty close to the same difficulty if you had, say, two of the big rings, like two of the big stones.
Okay. Interesting. I'm learning things. I like it. All right. So let's watch this third one. And remember in the chat, Kyle, what's up, dude? Yeah, we rated you. Yeah, 8 is pretty good, sir. So not too shabby. So make sure you throw in a rating for Scant here. We're going to watch his bench. So it looks like same concept, right? Because that other side is completely unloaded. But makes it even dumber because he's got the sandbags. So they're going to be all wobbly and weird. Okay, so let's go back through. Do you want to give him a rating on each one and then I'll average it? Do you want to just watch it all the way through and you'll just give one flat rating? How do you want to handle it since he's got multiple?
Let's see. Well, we already did someone who had 2 of them. I kind of like used it as like an all-encompassing. You got a little bonus for having multiple lifts. So I think we have to stick with that. You can't just like give one guy a bonus and not give it to everyone.
We can do whatever.
So I'll give an overall kind of, I'll average him in my head and then give a slight bonus for the fact he did for all his lifts.
Perfect. Yeah, man, we can do whatever we want. We're in charge. So the 200-pound sandbag to shoulder neck squat that he buries pretty well and up. You called that a grave digger deadlift, right?
Yep, or shovel deadlift, something like that.
Okay. And then would this be called a shovel bench?
Sure. You can call it whatever you want. It's like a scientist discovering a new animal.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so his bench claims to be 135, so I'm assuming that means he's got about 90 pounds on the side there. The deadlift was 230 total, and the squat was 200 for the sandbag.
All right. So my kind of thought process here is like sandbag squat, like is the least impressive of the 3, in my opinion, by a significant margin. So I mean, it's basically just shouldering a sandbag and then doing a squat, which I mean, like all parts, relatively difficult, but like attainable. He would have gotten like a point for like completion if he had kept the same concept of singly loaded side bar for all 3 lifts. Like if he did a squat in this manner, then you have like
he managed to put the sandbag here or something. Or
no. I mean, using a bar that's like one side load for the squat.
Oh, so gotcha. Okay.
Then you have like the set bonus.
A point for continuity.
Yeah. Deadlift I think very hard, especially because the weight's A, farther off from the axle, B, to the side. Like those are just way harder than you think they would be in general. And then bench is somewhere in the middle. I think that this one's gonna be slightly easier because the weight of the bar is better counteracting the weight of the plates. Like the center of mass is probably pretty close to the middle of where his hands were. So like it's kind of just like a tight grip, slightly odd regular bench. So, I mean, I could be off. Like I'd have to like build out and like check and see myself, but like I'm guessing it's pretty close to being kind of balanced there. So it's kind of like a tight grip bench. So factor in all 3 lifts. Factor in has pretty good weights considering he is a little bit older. I'm gonna go from there 8 on this one.
Another 8 for Scants. All right. Again, in the chat, if you're there, Kyle, if you're still there, throw out a rating for Scants. That way we can get some notes going for them. And then we'll take a look at our next one. Next up is Sam. So this is Sam Thunder Burke. He was one of our coaches for last week, giving out feedback to lifters. Sam is a GGC coach. We've done a write-up on him. These are going to be normal lifts, but the deadly factor is that Sam does no warm-up. So this 555, this 555 squat, he walked into the gym, loaded the bar, and hit it. So So he does a couple of other random nonsense things here. So we can watch so Sam is we talked about his no warm-ups. He said he hasn't really done a warm-up in multiple years. Apparently he started not warming up just for sake of time, found out it didn't seem to make a difference for him, and just doesn't do it anymore. So he walks in, and whatever his working weight is, he loads the bar and he goes after it. And he does it. And so now I threw out the caveat, and I'll do it again here. I'm not recommending you do that by any stretch of the imagination. I have tried to lower my warm-ups, and it does not work for me. I am apparently built different than Sam, I guess, and I need that warm-up, or maybe my brain thinks I do, or I think I do, and whatever it is, I've convinced myself I need it, whatever you go with. But Sam is apparently a genetic freak and does not need any kind of warm-up at all. It just goes for it. So he's also I'm going to get it wrong again. Oh, here we go. Computational neuromuscular biologist. And so he's in his coaching stuff, he talks about how he's paying attention to like the nervous system and things. So typically the argument would be part of the reason why you need to warm up as you add weights and scale would be the nervous system. And apparently he's kind of saying no. So which is interesting. So all right, Mark, do you warm up?
Yeah, I mean, for like compound lifts, usually, I mean, for like the bodybuilding machine stuff, it kind of depends. Like I use like not necessarily pyramiding sets, but like relatively heavy to like just jumping a little bit each time until it just kind of stops kind of sets. So it's kind of like a warm up. But there's plenty of stuff where I just kind of go right into it. Like probably not like a heavy single. I wouldn't be worried necessarily from like a safety perspective for myself personally, but like from an efficacy perspective, like I need like some warmth to like, get things primed if on like a mental level and a physical level, like get used to the movement, get things flowing, then it seems to help with, better performance. But I could hit a pretty heavy single, maybe probably feel bad, but it wouldn't hurt anything.
All right. Fair. All right. What are we giving Sam for his 3 cold lifts? And feel free to, do you want to see him again, or do you got
No, I got him. Actually, I think he tagged me this one, so I already seen it.
Okay. So 555 squat, 315 bench, 585 deadlift.
Okay. So first off, obviously all just very standard lifts. So no extra points for the movements themselves. Doing them cold is a bit difficult. So I'll give him a little bit for that. They're also pretty heavy. I was going to minus him points for having the same squat and deadlift because obviously you should deadlift more. Like, how can you squat? But then he fixed that, so we didn't lose those points.
Okay.
I did tell him in the comments that he needed to like really capitalize on this in the future and like do them in like an industrial freezer or something. So like take cold to the next level. So that's how you could improve on this concept.
Yeah.
But
take him outside in the snow or something, right?
Yeah, but considering, like I said, all fairly typical lifts, and like you kind of need the background for like to know what is deadly about them. Like if it doesn't like show it in the video, and like this is also kind of, I'm judging almost a way sometimes like the video itself, the quality is also a factor. Like if you just post this, because people never read descriptions, you have to show what is about the video in the video, and this one doesn't do that. So I'm gonna give this one the solid 7 because they are respectable weights. They are all done cold, but this didn't have a lot of the little extra things that I would look for in a quote unquote deadly lift.
Totally fair. I'm with you. Okay, let's take a look at our next one. Is Aaron. So Aaron's got his listed here. So he's got a Steinborn axle squat, an axle bench press, and a double overhand axle deadlift. He must be really tight on space because that bench is like 2 inches behind his butt when he pulls. All right. So the most creative one there is obviously the Steinborn squat. So, but he's also doing it in jeans. Is that your barefoot shoes or are those boots?
I can't tell.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah, those might be. Yeah, I think those might be the high tops.
Okay. All right.
I won't give bonus points for brand affiliation though.
Yeah. All right. So what do we got for Aaron?
All right. So obviously, slightly different bar for 2 lifts. This is kind of the main feature one right here. I'm giving some bonus points for doing that in that environment. There's a lot of things I don't like doing in my basement because I'm concerned about the collateral damage if I have to bail something. Sure. So like with all his stuff around him, like you get some bonus points for like being confident enough not to like bump into all this stuff or hit his ceiling.
Yeah, he's got a fridge right there. Yeah. Like I said,
it could be the camera angle, could be more room than it looks like. But to me, it looks like he does not have a large room for a margin of error. So I'll give him points for that. And then everything else is just axle. I won't do it, but I kind of want to subtract points for the song. Not because there's anything wrong with Natty Anthem, but last month, I guess 2 months ago now, I was at Juji Mufu's for the Eagle at the Olympics, and he had that on loop the whole weekend. Probably just because it was like safe, kind of on point, royalty-free music that he wouldn't have to worry about having to cut out later. But having heard that for oh god, they were like 14-hour days. they were there all morning, all night, like having a good time. Not like, oh, we had to stay there all day. It was a great time. But just hearing that on loop and then you forget and you stop listening, you pay attention and it's still on. Like, I don't need to go back in my
You go to bed at night and you still hear it, right?
Yeah. Like a kind of psychological torture. So I want to try points even though part of me was wanting to. So I'm gonna go with another 7.5 with mostly respect to the axle and the environment.
Perfect. Again, if you're in the chat, feel free to throw in ratings if you feel like it. we're going to move on to Rory. So Rory competed. Technically, he competed twice, but this was his second one. I think he got called out by somebody for his lackluster performance on the first one. So he said, fine. So 1,500-pound total in 20 seconds. So we can see he's got a bar, and a bar. He also has no belt on, no straps, no nothing. So bench. Deadlift. So 605 deadlift with no belt, and basically didn't even get set, just kind of flipped off a bench and grabbed it and ripped it up. So not too shabby. I don't know what his official best lifts are, but Rory makes some gym equipment out of that same space, I believe, which I think is the boxes we probably see right behind him there. And so, yeah. So,
all right.
But we got the gist. What's up, my man? Yeah, meant to say heyo, not hero. Yep. Autocorrect is a tough one. So Rory crushing it.
All right. So again, I've done this. So I'll give him points for identifying, in my opinion, the optimal order of operations. I think this is the best way to do them order-wise. Save the most time in transitions, because setting up the squat is probably the longest one, and you can start pre-set up if you want to set your timer when you actually start the lift. So, and then obviously deadlift is the quickest step, and you can transition like a nice flow this way. So identifying that, bonus points for your optimization. Bonus points because obviously these are all very strong lifts, and to do them all back to back is very, very good. The only thing I can ding on is that they are all technically just the standard lifts, but I think this is about one of the best ways I think you can present this, because obviously it doesn't have like the tchotchkes, the doodads, they're like things on fire, which they're fun, but it has a certain something else. Like obviously I think it's a good video presentation, like good angle. All gets done pretty quick. It's showing exactly what you're doing. It's not like a weird cut where you have to like understand like what the impressive thing is. Like it's all straightforward. And again, kind of looking at this from the lens of like what is this from like a the viewer's perspective kind of deal. I think is an important thing to consider with these kind of lifts, which that's maybe the content creator in me, but so I will only ding a little bit for the fact they're just kind of standard lifts, although in some ways that's a play on the goal of the competition. So it's kind of, like working within constraints. So I can respect that creativity. So I'm going to go with an 8.5, and it would have been 9 if there was like a little something different about the movements.
Little
I can running a solid positioning, but just
a little something. Yeah, I'm with you. My wife and I have had the conversation now, since I've spent so much time learning about like cameras and lenses and focal points and different things and whatnot. Now, like I can't even look at like pictures that people take on their cell phone that are like out of focus and weird. I'm like, that was such a why? All you had to do was tap this thing. And my wife's like, you're the only person that knows that. Stop it. So I'm like, yeah, I know. So I'm with you on the adding judgment of the presentation and different things.
Also looks like he could have maybe cleaned his lens. I'm not sure if it's just the lighting or if he like smudged it.
Very possible. Maybe he set it up while machining stuff. So all right, let's see. So we got him at an 8.5. Let's bring up our last one. So typically I do not show anyone under the age of 18. Some gray areas with live stream stuff, but they were adamant that they wanted to be included. I asked his dad specifically, like, hey, can you read through this and give me like a yes, we're on board? And they did. So if anyone's gonna try and fight me legally on YouTube or anything like that, like we're good to go. So this is from 50 Cal Fitness Instagram. I think he tells us the numbers as we go, but I believe he's his son who enters here is 12. I think that's right. Okay. Right out the gate, the fact that he can even unrack a 205-pound bar at 12 is pretty impressive. So, he just sat back. So reset. Not too shabby.
He should have been the RPE 10.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So
155.
bench.
Let's go, buddy.
Or is he going to get extra bonus points because Dad is holding the camera instead of spotting him? So he crushed that one.
Good job.
Too shabby. Okay, so 12-year-old last week of 6th grade. 745 total. This kid is too strong. Yep, I agree. That's massive. So at 12, he's beaten a decent chunk of the adults who are who are competing in the GGC, let alone normal average human beings who are like, "What's a squat?" kind of thing. So. Yeah, that's
kind of the backstory on this one, because it's not typically like a deadlift thing. Is his dad actually DM'd me today and he said, "Hey, I told your son about the snaps of the open. He wants to enter. He just want to make sure the A was okay, and like B, if I had like any suggestions for lifts that would be exciting, but also relatively safe, because we don't want to encourage a literal child to go too far off the bat. Like I'm okay with people taking some risks, like liabilities in their hands, but also like when it's a literal child, like no, we're gonna keep you on the tamer side of things. I don't want him standing on plates trying to deadlift. So no, I told him, like I say, just if he has an idea, let him do it. Obviously, maintain veto power if he goes too far off the reservation. But yeah, and then I saw how heavy his lifts were. I'm like, I asked you this to add him here just because they're not really like the typical deadlift. It was just super impressive, and didn't show up in any of their live streams. So I just wanted to highlight, because obviously incredibly strong for a 12-year-old. I was kind of like, what are they feeding these kids these days?
Yeah,
and I just kind of wanted to give them a chance to get featured, because these are the futures of our hobby and our sports and all of our whatnot. And hopefully he sticks with it, because obviously he has a bright future if he keeps progressing at this rate.
So I've had conversations with people over the years, and I'm like, hey, I use LeBron James as an example a lot of times. I go, the dude's not like you watch his actual basketball skills, he doesn't dribble really well and things like that. His number one thing is he's just stronger than everybody. And he's basically made a 20-year career in basketball out of that, being one of the best players ever. And it's if you're strong and athletic, which this kid has one out of the two, we know that for sure. If he wants to play sports, he's well on his way. I mean,
he's going to bury some kids in Pee Wee football.
Any sport I can think of, right? Strength is a helping, factor to that. Beyond it leading to you being more resilient and, faster and all kinds of stuff, just the ability to just push somebody out of the way and do whatever the hell you want to do whenever you want to. So, he's going to be a monster. So, all right, man, what do you got for his rating?
I was being go for it.
Okay. Oh no, I was just gonna say I don't know how we rate him for being younger or whatever. And so, but
I was gonna say this wasn't an initial plan from the entry, and obviously this is a pretty standard entry, so I wasn't sure if I should rate him, because I also don't want to give him a high rating, because obviously very impressive, but not for the context of this particular sub competition. So I will give him a solid 8, just to show the support that I thought was cool, and I just wanted him to get out there, because I think you're that age, I think it's be a cool thing to experience, have people say how awesome the thing you did was. So probably not top 3, but just very, very honorable mention. And I hope he comes out for Snaps the Open and comes out with something really cool, because very strong, very impressive, and hopefully a very bright future in some flavor of strength sport or not sport.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. Well done, sir. That is a monstrous set of lifts there. I mean, again, 315 deadlift. If you're an adult and you can deadlift 315, I'm pretty sure you're in the like 1% of people on the planet or something. So he's already crushing it. Like I looked up some stuff a while back. I'll have to find it, but it was like the amount of people who can, was it like squat, bench, and deadlift like anywhere above like a 500-pound total or something was super small.
Yeah.
Just because most people don't exercise at all, right? And then even when you're talking about the population of people who do exercise and do lift, those numbers are still minuscule in terms of being able to hit numbers like that. So very good. Very good. All right. So we are going to go back and look at our top 4, it looks like. So that way you can make a final decision. So we're going to pick our top 3 out of the top 4. So number 1, we got Joey. We've got Rory, who we just watched, with 22nd. You got Mr. Scants. There is Sandbags and his double deadlift. And our other top 4 contender is Kyle. With the 4 or 5 Zercher. All right, man. So those are your 4 top picks. So you're going to tell me who you got ranked 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st.
All right. I'm going to describe the list because
that's cool.
Names go in one, you're out the other. So I'm going to go with the 15 or 22nd, 1500 total, and then I'm going to go with the left side barbell lifts, and then first place will be the SSB Zercher paired with Denny Stone lift.
Okay,
and so my rationale there is the first place had everything. It had strong, impressive lifts. It had engaging with unusual movements, unusual equipment, and did it for multiple lifts. Second place I think was kind of like, I'm not sure if that was a tie in my scoring, but it was kind of a tie in my mind because they both had all 3 lifts, or they both had all 3 lifts, and then really embraced it. And the only reason I score the left side axle, I guess all the axle lifts higher, is because I felt like he dove more into the spirit of things. Because while the quick total is good to watch, good production, great display of strength, it's more so the display of strength and like really diving into like the theatrics of things. So like I'm just
I'm
gonna
with
go a little extra
Yep.
for the for kind of embracing the spirit a little harder.
Yep.
Although the quick total still very impressive, very strong, and a very solid video, which is
awesome.
an underrated factor.
Yeah. All right. So just to double check, we got number 3 here, right? We got number 2 here. And we got number 1 here. All right. Congrats to Joey. I think this is the first live stream he hasn't been on. He's been on all the other ones, unless if he's hiding out there and I just haven't seen him in the chat. Scance will probably be pretty stoked to have won as well. And Rory, I will poke him. He was on yesterday for a quick second, but then had some work stuff to tackle. So those are our 3 winners. I will contact them. And then let's go ahead and dive into some of your Snap City Open nonsense.
Sure. If you're, it looks like we actually managed to fill the entire hour with those. So I'm not sure if you're okay with running late. Like, it's up to you.
Yeah, we can do a few. I got to leave at like 5:15-ish.
Okay, so like 50 minutes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do a couple.
I'll start with just a quick breakdown for everyone listening about what the Snap City Open is. So the Snap City Open is a competition I've ran for. This is the 4th year, and it is basically just the, I guess, longest running and most prestigious online eagle lifting competition. So it's dedicated to odd, old, original, and all of the lifts that don't have a place in any real structured recognized strength sport. So basically the island of misfit toys of lifting. So it's been fun for every year. It's been growing a little bit every year. It's really one place for all the people that like to do weird lifts like me to, like, show off what they got and really just have a stage to bring out all their unique lifting talents and present them to the world. And it's been really cool. You've got lots of fantastic entries over these last 4 years. I'm really excited by just the ones we have already in the first week. And I will give a shout out back to the garage gym competition, because when I got prizes starting a second year, I basically stole their prize structure, because I like the idea that, this is just as much, if not more, community event compared to competition. And I didn't want all the prizes just to go to the strongest people. I wanted it to be, prizes for the masses, for the people, for everyone that wants to, participate. So all the prizes, with a few exceptions for the champions and a few odd ones, are all given on kind of like the raffle drawing basis. So if you enter, you have just as much chance of winning all the cool stuff as anyone else, regardless of how, new to lifting are, or if you think you're weak. Like, just for a prize perspective, there's absolutely nothing to lose by just doing the best you can and having fun with it. And I think that's what these kind of competitions should be about. So,
I agree. Yeah. Bring people in, encourage them to try something new, push their boundaries a little bit. Maybe they'll walk away and go, hey, that was stupid. I don't ever want to do that again, but I tried it, right? Or they'll go, that was the most fun I've ever had. I'm going to do it again and again and again. So
and lots of people have had really fun ideas.
And I'm sure you've had the same thing I have. I've had people tell me, like, hey, I entered the GGC and then now I'm like addicted to competitive powerlifting and stuff. So I'm sure you've had people who the very first crazy lift they do is in one of your pieces.
I can only hope.
Now they're like, and then they're going to show up and do it, every other week or something or whatever, or at least show up every year when you run the Snap City. So let's see. So in the chat, we got,
hi Gummy.
This is Evil Gummy. Yeah. All right, man. So what do we want to watch?
Here, I'm looking at the spreadsheet on my screen. I knew there's some fun ones in here. Let's see. Which one am I looking for? There's a few already. I was like, what the hell was that? Oh, here we go. Row 26. This one I thought. This one I honestly, I thought that there was they either wrote the wrong thing in the description, or they it was not what I was thinking it was going to be, because I didn't think what they had described was physiologically possible. But
the thumbnail is already pretty crazy. So let's see. Share screen. I want.
Yeah, I think this one's on YouTube.
Does that work? There we go. Oh, that's not what I
Oh,
wanted.
wow.
Let's try a different one. Let's do.
I like the infinite mirror.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, but not what we wanted. That one? Ah, there we go. Okay, I didn't label it. Okay, here we go.
Yep. Yeah, so that is basically bar touching what should be the floor. And I mean, to toot my own horn, I have the, from regular height, Zercher deadlift world record, at least, to the best of anyone's knowledge. And sure. I cannot get into that position. I have a hard time getting to the starting position with a stiff bar, period. I mean, once I'm there, I can lift a lot with it, but like I just barely have the ability to get down there. I have to yank myself into position. So to add 9 inches and like essentially have your torso fall through your legs, like I'm pretty sure his shoulders are far below his knees at the bottom there.
The
insane amount of strength.
The strength and mobility combination there is wild. So
and it's not like he's like it's not like just a mobility trick. Like he's lifting 135 pounds. Like that's over 300 pounds. So
yeah.
So like that
would be a solid lift if he pulled it out of the rack, walked it back, did it, and put it back up. Let alone doing what he. Let alone from the floor, alone also off of the plates.
Like I was like open up like this it has to be like either like a he did like to the knees, like some people call Zerchers when they pull to the knees and then get in their elbows, but like just crazy bending. Let's see what else we got here. Trying to find the ones I found. I downloaded a bunch of them to make my first weekly highlight for tomorrow. Yeah, I'm trying to find the ones I picked. Let's see. This one's 43.
3. So we got the Atlas Stone.
Yep. This one's like less really crazy inventive lift, but just incredible execution. Granted, this guy is a pro level strongman, so
but
this 400 pound Atlas Stone basically to
his
chin height and a single motion. So typically, for those not familiar with strongman, the standard order of operations for a stone is you pick it, you kind of set it on your knees, you dip down so you can adjust to get a really high grip, and then you kind of triple extend to put on the platform. So one motioning it like that is, just the extra cherry on top for what is already a very, very hard lift. Like that would be a heavy stone to a standard 48-inch height. To put up, I don't know how tall that is, but it's very tall. And to do it as a one motion like that is just crazy demonstration of strongman skill. Which stuff like that does have a very big place in my mind in the Snap City Open. Like it's not just crazy made up imaginative lifts. It's old school lifts like the bent press or the Zercher deadlifts or Reeves deadlifts, etc.
Like those are Steinborn we saw earlier, right?
Steinborn. Actually, speaking of Steinborns, 42. Yeah, this guy has he entered multiple. He's the only person to ever place in all 3 categories, and he did that last year. And honestly, I don't know if you're ever going to watch this, but
what are your categories?
This year it's push, pull, and distance. Honestly, they're super vague categories, and they're that way on purpose. I want like anything to hypothetically have a place. So it's kind of hard to see on the smaller video, but starts with the Steinborn squat, and then most of his stuff is just juggling. So he's going to juggle his 3 balls while doing a hands-free squat. And he's done this with one-handed deadlifts. He's done this with like an overhead press where he's juggling 2 balls in one hand. So he's got the barbell in the other hand. One of his other entries, he's essentially juggling 2 balls, tossing them really high, quickly hopping the bar to his other hand, catching the balls, and then goes back and forth like 3 times.
Again, 440-pound squat is impressive on its own.
Hands-free is impressive.
440 with no hands on you.
And all that plus juggling.
And he got it up in the Steinborn, which is even more ridiculous. Yeah, that's
Juggle Boy, if you ever watch
layers
this,
to it.
Like he is, if he just got a higher quality camera and like up those production qualities a little bit, like this would be a runaway like viral account. Like I think
Sure.
it's already doing pretty well. That's my check, but I think like the only thing holding him back is the like, what is he at?
1,800.
Okay, I thought
At least on here.
he would take way off. I think if he had
it looks like he's got Twitch and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
maybe that's his like focus on. But like if he had just like video quality, it's kind of unfortunate, but it's such an important thing.
It is
on especially Instagram, because people are not going to give you any benefit of the doubt if you don't capture their attention. And part of that is high production quality. You lost them, which is sad. But like, if anyone's ever seen any of my older videos, I used to like turn off the lights in my basement, just like have these crappy LED strip lights and like put them to like strobing lights and like take videos in the dark with like my music blasting in the background, and they're absolutely shitty, awful videos. So I had to give up my basement vibes to in favor of production qualities at one point. And good decision for long term, but like unfortunate necessity.
Yeah. You want to do? We can probably do a couple more.
Yeah. I try to remember this one described. Oh, there we go. There it is. No. 35.
So the Jefferson.
No, it should be. I thought it was 35. Maybe it was. Oh, never mind. I didn't have it. That was not the row. 51's the row. 35 was the end of the timestamp.
Got it. 51.
I was glad because I looked at this guy. This video went like relatively viral too, so good for him. It's just. Jesus. What do you call that? I don't know, but one of the categories is distance, and he definitely found it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I have a hill across his right house, so I'm going to have to steal this.
Superman barbell plank downhill for 150 yards. That is
just inspired idea and pretty dang good video execution with the multiple angles.
Oh yeah. I wonder how many times he did that to get
the good shots. I don't know.
Yeah, the because
he's got like the GoPro.
Like a GoPro. Yeah. Someone's filming it from the back, and then he maybe set up his own phone down there or something. That was at least 3 cameras going on to make all that work. So, wow. That
49 is one that scared me a little bit.
That's a good sign.
Which it shouldn't, considering some of the stuff I've done, but I think I was afraid about pinching.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on the live stream unless you can like zoom in, or they probably can't full screen or anything. But if you're watching at home and you're watching on a smaller screen, he has like the pretty typical Hex, like lightweight, like cast iron dumbbells, like the really cheap ones you find like at a yard sale. He has a pair of 20s and a pair of 15s, and he has them stacked on top of each other, like flat face to flat face. So like, there we go. And then does the complete Zercher. Yeah. So like the falling, I'm not worried about the ankles, but I'm just picturing like falling and having all that weight, like basically. Maybe it's not possible, but like pinching a toe between 2 dumbbells, because I have a thing about fingers and toes, particularly nails.
You like to keep them where they are.
Yeah. Like as long as there's no chance of pinching, it's fine. But like, scary lifting also like takes a lot more balance than you might think. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, very, very good entries. Oh, let's see. I'll find one last fun one.
Okay.
One last one we got here.
Some of these descriptions: Zercher catch, Subaru rim squats.
Yep. I like when they really nail what the lift is. So if I want to find them later, it's hard. Some people just have like really just not or very vague descriptions. And I'm trying to find it's like which one was it, and it's like I don't know which description is supposed to be it. Let's go. Where is it? 56.
56.
I am excited by how many more women we've already had enter, because the first year there were 0 women. The second year there was 1 woman. Last year I want to say 5 or 6. So my goal is to break at least 10, and I think we finally got that. Like I don't want to like just reduce this to look, it's a woman lifting, but like obviously the lift itself is very cool. But it's like a side thing. I understand why, especially this flavor of lifting doesn't have as many women in it, because like they get enough junk just like doing normal lifting and like just doing other stuff. Like to add in like the extra junk from doing odd lifts, because a lot of people have opinions on things they don't understand.
Of course.
And they want to let you know. So like that time is just the fact that people feel the need to, inform women, doing any kind of lifting about all kinds of unbased opinions.
You're gonna get the hey sweetie.
Yeah, you're gonna get a multiplication.
Yourself, right?
Yep. You're gonna get something like a multiplicative amount of crap. And so I completely understand why there's not as many women doing this kind of stuff as there are men. Maybe they're also just smarter, but so I've been really pushing, like every time like someone's like, hey, I want to answer, hey, like, do you have other friends? Like, peer pressure your friends, because I want to like expand this and actually, bring this as like, it's just the representation was abysmal. I didn't like that. So I'm glad that it's, on the up and up, and that more of them are just having the fun time doing this and like want to enter. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Christina and I talked about it on Monday. So there hasn't been a lot of female representation on the live stream for the GGC yet. And it's because a lot of times, so I give people the option on the submission form to say, please don't publish my results and stuff like that. Yeah. And the women tend to not check those boxes, which is totally cool with me. It's not a big deal. But then obviously they don't get shown here. And because she was like, where's all
compounding issue kind of almost.
Yeah. She's like, where's all my ladies? Yeah. She's like, where's all my ladies? And I go, well, they competed. They're just not going to show up here because they chose not to.
So like, I totally reasons. Get where they're coming from, but like I made a goal like, hey, like this is to use like always, right? This is a safe space for us. Like if you will be like, don't just people will support you, and like if people are crapping in the comments, I will on my stuff. I am perfectly happy to take as many dumb awful comments. If I'm really bored, I'll engage and have a little different leave my witty replies, but I'm not gonna like delete comments or like overly back people. But for like Snap City stuff, if people start attacking competitors or like really anyone that's not me, no, then I'm gonna use all the power of having owning the account and my control of the comment section to shut you down. And that I feel totally justified in that. Say what you want about me. You're not saying anything else about any of my competitors, regardless of if they're men or women.
I had a guy on the Reddit sub for the GGC, and I'll caveat this by saying he ended up deleting the post and apologizing to me afterwards. So I won't call him out by name or anything like that. I don't even know that I remember, but he was like, he put up one of those. You remember that guy? It was the rent is too damn high or whatever, the meme. So it was that, squats. And so the squats are too damn high. And so a few people commented and gave him the more appropriate approach, which was like, hey, I didn't know that my squat was high until I filmed it and submitted it, and then went, oh, my squat's high, right? And one other person was like, I didn't know it was high until I entered, and then a coach, who I elected to get feedback from, told me, hey, your squat's high. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? And then so this was a learning opportunity for people, right? And so I commented and I was like, dude, by being negative, you are pushing people out of the space instead of welcoming them in, where they have the opportunity to get feedback and fix their high squats or whatever if they want to, right? And so and then I leaned in a couple of things, and then I did my mod stuff, and I went, you've also never participated in the GGC, so I'm looking forward to you submitting your perfect squat technique. And he didn't, and he like I said, he apologized. I was like, it's cool, I get it, like, you're not wrong, but you're wrong, right? So I
mean, I think it's a testimony to the whatever community you built on, right? That like that is your example of like the worst thing someone's posted, because that is relatively wholesome, especially wholesome situation.
It was
like learning from it.
It was way. It wasn't like sexual assault or anything crazy.
There are so many, like the social media as a whole just encourages the worst.
It's crazy. The anonymity that people have brings out the
it's not even that anymore. People have their faces, their profile pictures.
That's true.
Stuff, and they just, I don't know. It's what have a barrier, or just I don't know. But I'm pretty sure social media encourages it, because gets people back.
It does.
Watching their ads and stuff, but it's just it makes me lose faith in humanity sometimes. So I want my comment sections for Snap City Open be as positive as possible. Leave all your hate on my videos. Just be nice to the Snap City Open ones.
I'm with you. All right, man. I think that's a good one to wrap it up on. I like it. So you want to leave the people in the chat with anything before we take off? I will share your Instagram in case anyone's in there.
I will
and they
give
don't know.
one last shout out to the Snap City Open. It is running until June 15th, so you have still 3 weeks to enter. Plenty of time. We have over $7,000 in prizes. Top prize, if there is to be one, would be a full rack. We've got stuff like a tsunami bar. We've got over $1,000 worth of cash prizes. We have loadable hammers, a little bit shield, a Dragon Slayer sword you can load away and swing around, and gift cards and other goodies, and just lots of fun stuff. And I'm really excited to give it all out to the competitors. So you don't have to have a crazy lifting skill. You don't have to be crazy strong. Just think of something fun, do it, submit it, and enjoy the competition with the rest of us. Or if you don't really want to enter and you want to share it, always great. I want to get as many competitors as possible and spread this little niche community we have.
Awesome. Cool, man. Thanks for joining me today, taking some looks at some crazy lifts, and then sharing some of your Snap City stuff. That was fun. I'm going to remember that guy rolling down the hill for ages. I think that was wild. So I put your Instagram in the chat for anyone there who wants to follow Mark that may not already be doing. Tomorrow I will be joined by Travis Papa Bear Rogers. We're going to shift back to some powerlifting stuff, and we're going to look at the largest lifts. So you're probably going to be on the live stream tomorrow, whether you show up or you don't.
I'll try to stop by for that.
Okay. And the goal is to have Travis take a look at everyone's lifts and share some insights around kind of form, technique, that kind of thing. So if you don't know how to squat, bench, deadlift like a monster, hopefully Travis will share some insights. And I'm sure we'll get to your lift and he'll just go, I don't know what the fuck to do with this one. And then we'll move on. So, but that should be fun.
I'll have to tune in just to see that reaction.
Yeah. Next week, we've got prize week. So we're handing out prizes like crazy. I'll have some sponsors on for the live streams. And then I will finish it up on the following week with one more where I do some data and some closing ceremony stuff. And then that'll be it for the spring GGC. So hope to see everybody tomorrow and in the coming ones. Mark, thanks, dude. Bye, everybody.
Bye.